Morning viewers, and welcome to the program The Dailies on Equa Television Africa, where we look at various stories making the headlines from our Nigerian newspaper. Today being the 6th of June 2022 happens to be the World Food Safety Day, and the theme for today is Safer Food, Better Health, and also today is the APC Presidential Primary. I am Sele Elisha Dasham, and with me is Tosin Owolabi.
Good morning, Sele.
Morning, Tosin. How was the weekend?
Good, and yours?
Hope you rested well.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, before we go dive into the papers, today happened to be the World Food Safety Day, and we know the theme for today is Safer Food, Better Health. And we cannot overemphasize the importance of having a good health, because previously, I think from last year down to this year, we've been recording lots of issues that have to do with, even when you look at food, in terms of illnesses like Lassa fever, because we do not preserve our food properly. We fall victims to Lassa fever. We have cholera, especially now that it's the rainy season. So people do not even take the time to wash their fruits and vegetables properly, and we see that we fall ill to various illnesses. So I think it's very, very important that we emphasize the importance of our health, because you can only do things when you are healthy, and that's why we have to emphasize the importance of safer food, safer health. And I think we really have to commend the World Health Organization for bringing out such a theme at a time like this, which is very timely to help people know the importance of taking good care of themselves and what gets into their system.
Yes, Sele, we can't talk about a nation that is growing or a country that is growing without talking about the aspect of food being available for everyone, and even talking about food being available and talking about all the ways we can process our foods. We know that in the processing we have the issue where chemicals are being put in our food, and they are over put in this food, and it's pose danger to the life of people. Example we had where those pomo sellers were caught because they used the chemical that was used to embalm the dead body, that's corpse, to preserve their pomo for it to look fresh, but they were apprehended by the police. So we're talking about processing of food. We have the agency, that is the SON, that should go out to look out for ways all those foods are being preserved, and the preservative or chemicals that are used to preserve this food should not be what will threaten the life of people or cause danger to their life after consumption. We know that the chemicals, the preservation that are being used should be healthy to people, that even after consumption it won't have a negative impact in the life of people. But I asked this question, Sele, how can we mark World Food Day without talking about the insecurity that we are faced with? Because we can't have availability of food when farmers cannot go to their farm any longer. How do you get your food? It's through the farm, because people have to go to the farm and cultivate the soil, plant the seedlings for it to grow to become food that we consume. But with this insecurity, how can people go to the farm any longer? Farmers are scared to go to their farm. So we should do something about it. In marking the World Food Day, we should also look out for ways we can curb this insecurity so that there can be access to the farmland. Farmers can have access to go to their farm so that we can have food available. We see where African Development Bank have been talking about how they can make food available because of the food insecurity we are facing in our nation. So we need food to be available, because a hungry man is an angry man.
True.
If food is not available, how can you go about doing different activities? How can you go to your job and even give out your best in your job? You need to fill your tummy. So food should be available. The government should do something about it. The Ministry of Agriculture should do something about it. And African Development Bank have been doing something about looking at how food can be available. So they should put hands together to bring out more effort on how food can be available, and farmers can be able to go to their farm freely.
Thank you so much, Tosin. And we'd love to run through the papers. We're live on Facebook and also on YouTube, so you can do well to drop your comments, and when we see any of the comments, we'll read it. And 9:30, we'll also open our phone line so that you can call us and let us know what your contributions are concerning stories that are trending this morning. I'll be starting with the Al Jazeera newspaper, and the big story: APC holds presidential primary today. Battle lawyer for Osinbajo, Una Tinubu and Amechi. Detail of that can be found on page 25. Other stories on Al Jazeera: cults killed as gunmen attack Catholic Church in Akeredodo's town. Detailed on page 22. And to see, yesterday was really a black Sunday, looking at the fact that people left their homes to go serve the Lord Jesus Christ in church, and at the end of the day their life was cut short, where we have quite a number of people were killed. In the initial state, as at around 2 p.m. there were 25, but later on more and more were recorded, and I think they are almost getting to 50 or more. And it's really a sad one, where in broad daylight you cannot even go to any worship center and worship without fear of your life. Schools are not open. Why? Because ASU is on strike. You can't go to your farm because you will have a clash between herdsmen and also the farmers. And here we're having, even in your church, you are scared to the point that people are even saying, thank God I didn't go to church. Why? Because if you were there, you would have been killed. And it's really a sad one, and we can see the governor of Ondo is really, really, really sad, because it's really something that we should be very sad about. Even the president actually saying his condolences and his mourning for the souls. But for how long are we going to just send condolences? For how long are we going to just say we are mourning, and yet we cannot do something about this? If it was, caution was being said in various states, why? So that we'll be able to curtail the issues of insecurity, that at least you're at home. But even in your homes, you are not safe. Even in our homes, we are not safe. Even in the church, you are not safe. It seems as if there is nowhere that is safe any longer in this place. In broad daylight, you begin to wonder what are the security agency doing. If in broad daylight you can actually get into any church building, fire and kill people at will, and nothing is being done to you, it's really, really a sad one. And I was sad because when the priest was saying that they locked themselves up in the church for over 20 minutes, and later on opened the doors. That when they were sure that the government had left, they opened to see the casualties that they have. And it's really a sad one. I just hope that we'll really, really rise up, we'll really, really wake up from our slumber, because it's not yet time for us to sleep. People will say that the government, I don't even care anymore, because business as usual, no matter the lives that are being lost, at the end of the day we'll go about our normal activities. So I just hope that we'll really wake up from our slumber and know that it's not time for us to sleep, but we should do something to make sure that lives and properties are safe.
Yes, the killing in St. Francis Catholic Church is really devastating. And I would say, who are this terrorist group that they cannot be identified? Because going to a church and killing over 50 persons, including children, including the aged, including men and women, in a bid to go to church, in a bid to serve Jesus Christ, then you see all these things happening, and later on it's been said that they are a terrorist group. Who are this terrorist group that the government cannot identify, or even the state government? Because I know before you can go into a state, there's some processes you should go through. You go through the road, and even at the roadside we have our military men at those checkpoints. What is happening when we talk about the checkpoints, where the checkpoints have become a place to get your money, quick money, because of the rogers that are security operatives at the roadside get? They don't even look at, they don't even check people again. They don't check cars. They don't even check commuters any longer. If you have the necessary money to give them, you give them and you pass. And that's why we see all these insecurity issues giving birth to so many things in different states. And now look at this death of over 50 persons in Ondo State. The government is condemning it. We can see state governors have come together to condemn. But should we stop at condemning this act, Sele? For how long will we continue to condemn all these acts? We've had issues of killing, and what comes up is we condemn this act. It should go beyond condemning this act. They should fish out these people, because for how long will lives be lost on a bid, on a platter of gold like this? On the same day that which was yesterday, we had Mr. President. He called the APC presidential aspirants. They had a meeting, and we had this issue that same day in Ondo State. We are tired of all this condemnation coming from our key holders. Action should be done. They should launch attack on how they can fish all this terrorist group. It was in this same country we said the headsmen were declared terrorists. And if they are declared terrorists, then they should be the government needs to go after them, and they should face the full wrath of the law. But all this issue that you kill people and you go your own way, you feel like there is nothing, the life of human being is nothing to you. You kill people and you go freely in the society. You move around among people freely in the society. Nothing is done to you. We have to condemn this act, and in the bid of condemning this act, actions should be done. We saw where the governor of Ondo State went to the scene and he even wept. It should go beyond weeping. action should be done on how they can track these people down, and the law should take its full course on them, because people cannot die on such basis. People cannot just die just like that in our country. We need to look out for the sanctity of lives and properties. I will say, if you are looking out for ways you can come out to be president or even governors of all the states, when lives are being lost, nobody for you to lead. Who will you lead? Will you lead the trees? You need human being for you to rule over. So something needs to be done on how lives can be preserved. Now we see people saying, thank God I did not go to church. Is it what we want to end up doing in our country? Thank God I did not go to church. Even if you did not go to church, they still go after people. Even at home, you are no longer safe. You see issues where they go home, they kill people, they go to school, they kill people. It should not end up at, thank God I did not go to church. We need to fish these people, because even if you did not go to church, they still have other places they can get you. Public gatherings are not safe, schools are not safe, you are not even safe at home. So something needs to be done about this. We keep on saying something needs to be done, and we mean it. The government needs to fish out all these perpetrators of evil acts, and they should face the full wrath of the law, because we are tired of having stories like this where people just die just like that and nothing is done about them. We see that our justice system is just quiet about all these things. Nothing is done in fishing out all these people. We've had issues of people dying just like this, and later on a press release will come out and say we are going to fish out those people, and it just goes like that, it dies like that. We need to see more actions being done by the government, more actions being done by the presidency on how they can fish out these perpetrators of evil act, because these people cannot just die just like that. It is really sad and it is devastating.
True. So we need justice for the lives of those people. It will not just end on the papers, but we hope that something will be done to stop such. Other stories still on a Jezreel newspaper. APC primary, Buhari only interested in the best candidate to defeat the PDP. This is coming from the governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello. Other story, monkeypox moderate risk to global health. This is coming from the World Health Organization. Federal government set to incorporate traditional medicine in the primary health care. And we have the Synagogue Church of All Nations celebrating TB Joshua's first memorial legacy. And from Akwa Ibom, the government house police chief brutalized journalists, NUJ petition the CP. Alternative power cost manufacturers over 71 billion naira in 2021. And from sports, we have Sports Federation not bigger than Nigeria. This is coming from the minister. We detailed on page 16. We also have a picture story here, so you can do well to get that Jezreel newspaper and read any of the stories that's of interest to you.
On leadership newspaper, PDP Board of Trustee, Atiku meets today over running mates and orders. FCT minister condemns lynching of alleged blasphemer, and operators outraged over 20 years e-custom concession to Chinese firm. Daredevil terrorist attack Ondo Church, kill 58 worshippers. And 24 hours to APC convention, South yet to agree on consensus candidate. The rider says President Muhammadu Buhari meets APC caucus governors ahead of primary today. Southern leaders commend President Northern governors for zoning presidential tickets to region. Northern governors position not binding on me. This is coming from Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello. And stakeholders worried over epileptic power supply. ADC presidential tickets, Kachuku, Mogalu, others take battle to Abeokuta. And we have a picture story on the front page of the leadership newspaper where we can see more than 50 worshippers who were killed at St. Francis Catholic Church, Owo, Ondo State yesterday following an attack by terrorists. And we really condemn this act, and that's all on the leadership newspaper.
Thank you, Tosin. Let's take a look at the Daily Times newspaper. APC presidential primary, Onu's chances brighten as Damaru withdraws. Detailed on page 3. And Port Harcourt refinery ready by March 2023, NNPC tells the House. The big story, which is Black Sunday in Ondo, scores kill as terrorists attack church in Akeredodu's hometown. Attackers came in large numbers with dynamite guns. This is coming from survivors. Go after attackers, Akeredodu tells the security agency. Buhari, Afenifere, Khan and others condemned the attack. Northern governors' position on power shift to South subject to Buhari's nod. This is coming from Baduru. And on APC to penalize Tinubu over utterances against Buhari in Abeokuta. We can read detail of that on page 3. We can see picture story here where we can see the governor of Ondo State, and we actually send our condolences to all the families that have been affected. And that's all on the Daily Times newspaper.
And on the Daily Trust newspaper, we have Tinubu Oshibanjo adamant as Southwest elders intensify consensus efforts. And we have here APC presidential primaries and how the aspirants stand. For Yemi Oshibanjo, the total projected votes, we have like 857. For Bola Tinubu, total projected votes 571. And of Rotimi Amechi, the total projected vote 329, while for Godswill Apabio, his total projected vote 40. Kayode Fayemi 124, Yaya Bello 22, and Dave Umahi 20, and Ahmed Lawan we have 1. But we still keep our fingers crossed for the outcome of the primaries, which will start today. Although we know that they've penalized some after the screening, the APC screening, some over 10 persons were penalized, and they won't go further for the presidential primaries. But we'll still keep our fingers crossed to look out for the outcome and who represent APC come for the presidential election. And that's all on the Daily Trust newspaper.
And on Nigerian News Direct, Fidelity Bank backs award for the best SME bank in Nigeria. Allied Industry reflections of the Soluwa 22 years of cutting-edge technologies application for oil gas projects. LCCI issued statement on the new telecom tax in Nigeria. Detail of this can be found on page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct. Outrage over bandits attack on Owu Catholic Church with detail over 50 feared kill. Akeredodu, Oyitola, Okowa and others condemn attack. Killings were direct attack on Governor Akeredodu. This is coming from Afenifere. Attack traumatizing, unbelievable. This is coming from Ondo, APC and PDP. Go after perpetrators now, Khan tells Ondo government and security agency. Expert warn Nigerians to be extra vigilant in soft target centers. Detail of this can be found on page 3. Other stories on Nigerian News Direct. Shareholders storm up NASCON good performance despite the pandemic. And the last story, Yahya Bello rejects APC Northern governors on Southern presidential candidate. Detail of this can be found on page 2. And that's all on the Nigerian News Direct.
On Inquirer newspaper, on our killing, Buhari, Oshibanjo, Akeredolu, UK, others kick. Stop providing cover for miscreants, FCTA to Apple plot owners. And on land swap, Abuja natives to get 1.5 billion naira compensation. While on 2023, Lawan Bello in quandary as 10 APC governors back power shift to the south. 121 million pregnancies unintended globally, and this is a report that can be found in page 14 of the Inquirer newspaper. The big story on blasphemy, anger, fear in Abuja's residents, CSOs tackle security agencies. And residents of Abuja, Nigeria Federal Capital Territory, FCT, have continued to express their anger and fear over gruesome murder of Ahmed Usman and subsequent burning. We need to kick against this issue of jungle justice. We still had issue of jungle justice for Deborah, and now we are seeing that for Ahmed Usman in Abuja. We need to sensitize people on the need to report to the security operative. If the government wants you to take law into your hands, then we will not have the security operatives in our state, in our local governments, and even in communities. We need to report all these things to the security other than taking justice in our hands. We need to do something about it. Go further in sensitizing people, and not just stopping and even sensitizing people. When we start punishing people for what their offenses, then people will know that, okay, yes, I know that when something like this happens, I need to report to the necessary authority. So we should need to kick against issue of jungle justice. We know that before, jungle justice was the order of the day in Lagos, and now we can see that even in Sokoto, we can see in Abuja. We need to do something about all these things, because we need to understand that life is very important. No one should have the right to take life of anybody because of anything he or she have done. Report to the necessary operative. Let justice be served to such person. We need to kick against all these things coming up that we're seeing on our papers, because they're not presenting us like in a good page, even in foreign nations. We have here still another story here on why most of Abuja are in darkness. AEDC Power Ministry, and we know that over a week now, some parts in Abuja have been on total blackout on the ground that the Obun gas have been shut down because of there's no availability of gas, and that is affecting the neighboring communities and even some places in Abuja for the shutdown for over a week. But we're just hopeful that the government will do something about it to restore power to people, because aside having power at home, there are people who use this power for their businesses. We need to restore this power so that businesses can thrive and people can have electricity at home, because we know that when there is this total blackout, it's another edge for this insecurity group and insurgency to take place, because they know that places are dark, armed robbers can easily come up, and we have the terrorist group invading such places because of using the advantage of the total blackout. So the government needs to do something about it, and the ministry that is in charge of electricity should do something about it, so we will not have this issue of blackout. We have so many things to face. Electricity should not bring itself. It should not bring itself. They should look into this and restore this total blackout that people are facing in those communities in Abuja. That's all on the Inquirer.
Thank you, Tosin. Let's take a look at the Vanguard newspaper. WAEC stopped Kaduna students from writing exams after paying 12.61 million naira. You want to know more about that story? You can look it up on page 13 of the Vanguard newspaper. Insecurity in the Northeast, CSOA pledges to re-engage competent retired military personnel. Detailed on page 7. 3 escaped dead as gunmen set security van carrying cash on fire. Other stories, which is on 2023, Buhari never discussed power shift to the south. This is a report coming from the presidency. You can read detail of that on page 7. And the big story, which is still on the over 50 killed, I'll make them pay. This is coming from Akere Dodo, the governor of Ondo State, with the rider, how we were attacked. This is coming from the priest. Headsmen behind killing Ondo lawmaker. I'll make corporates to pay. This is coming from the governor, Akere Dodo, condoles with families of the victims. Nigeria needs divine intervention, says the Catholic Church. And this is a total madness. Nigeria at war. This is coming from the Bishop of Ondo Diocese. Attack threatening foundation of Nigeria. This is coming from Gani Adams. It's a declaration of war against Yoruba people. This is coming from Afenifere Akitoye. And I'll say it's not just on Yoruba people, but this is a war on Nigeria, and we need to take the war to them in the tent, because if they feel they are over the government, they are not. So we should not treat this like levity. Just like I said, back was there where we say it was just in Kaduna, it's just in Jos, it's just in this place. But we can see that they are moving. They are even in the capital territory. They're attacking every part of the country. And so we should not treat them with so much levity. We should stand up and really take this fight seriously, or else we chase all the investors that are coming to the country. Nobody will want to have anything to do with us, and we'll even be treated badly outside the country. Why? Because people will feel if we are not safe in our country, why do we keep running over to them? So we just hope that the government will really listen to this call and know that it's high time we do something to protect lives and properties. And on the economy, manufacturers lost confidence bemoan falling disposable income, with the rider CEO's confidence index down 1.5 pips in the first quarter of 2022, laments the high interest rate. Man lists forex scarcity, insecurity, neglect of economy for politics and others. And policy environment should motivate investment. This is coming from the LCCI and CPPE. We have a graph here where you can see inside the paper where Man and CEO's confidence index the first quarter of 2021 to the first quarter of 2022 with some points. You can check inside the paper to know more about that. APC presidential primary, Buhari keeps aspirant guessing 24 hours to the event. You can read more of that on page 8. Still on presidency, the Southern Middle Belt Forum leaders hail Buhari, Northern APC governors on concession to the south. ADC presidential ticket, Kachukwu, Mogalu and others take battle to Abeokuta. Detail can be found on page 8. And on insecurity, national reconciliation, panacea for Nigerians' peace, UN tells the federal government. And still on 2023, persuasion not threatened can get you the Southeast presidency, ACF tells Ohanize. And the last story I'll be taking here, INEC to produce 430 million ballot papers for the 2023 general elections. We detailed on page 8. And that's all on the Vanguard newspaper.
On the blueprint, we have over 50 killed in Ondo church terrorist attack. This is from lawmaker Akeredolu vows to hunt down criminals. Gunmen kill Sokoto monarch's wife, abduct wedding guest. Travelers killed in Kwara and others abducted. Buhari, Atiku, Fayemi, others condemn massacre. The big story says in Make Oma Presidential Convention today, 2,340 delegates determines Oshibanjo, Tinubu, Fayemi, Amechi, others' faith. It's a special convention like no other. This is coming from Adamu, and Yaya Bello is saying, I can't withdraw for anyone. President Muhammadu Buhari says we'll lead consultation till our candidate emerges. And a source is saying elective convention inevitable, while Okechukwu is saying northern APC governors have shamed PDP. And as the primaries will take place today, we'll see the conscience of delegates should work, because we should not have issues of bribery, and when after the bribery then you pick out the person, the highest bidder. Their conscience too should work, because you know that whoever they pick out to represent, he or she might likely lead the country come 2023. So their conscience should work. Delegates should do the right thing that they are supposed to do there. They should not allow the bid and the quest for money take away their conscience. PDP presidential aspirant Bala picks Bauchi Guba ticket. The rider says Tambuwal emerges Sokoto South senatorial candidate. Jubilation as Malagi redeems pledges, hand over buses to the NUJ and the Labour Congress. CBN to wield big stick as dollar rain drowns inflation and exchange rate. On 2023, Oshibanjo leads Atiku in IPRO polls. And Port Harcourt refinery to be ready November, NNPC assures. Electricity distribution says subsidy removal up tariff with 58%. And 701 students prevented from writing WAEC after paying 12.6 million naira. Makinde is saying Oyo chieftaincy declaration will guide selection of new Alafin. And that's all on the Blueprint newspaper.
Thank you so much, Tosin. Before we move further to other papers we have lined up this morning, we'd like to take a time out where we can open the phone lines for our callers to callers and let us know what your contributions are concerning any of the stories that of interest you. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break. welcome back. If you're just tuning in, the program is still the Dailies on Echo Television Africa. We've been looking at various stories trending on our Nigerian newspaper. I am Sela Elisha and Tosi Uwulabi have been doing this alongside. Remember, our phone lines are open and also we're live on Facebook and YouTube, so you can drop your comment and let us know what your views are concerning any of the stories that is of interest to you. Let's move to the next paper, which is the Daily Sun newspaper. Insecurity. Abia government restrict herders and cow to cattle market. Detail can be found on page 5 of the Daily Sun newspaper. And on senatorial election, Aba traders route for Akpezu. Detail of that can be found on page 29. The big story we say decision day in APC with the rider 6 Southern aspirant in crazy battle against Lawan. Zibanjo, Umahi, Tinubu, Amechi, Awajuba fight to the finish in race for ruling party's presidential ticket. Consensus options still on card. Tight security in Abuja with detail on page 6 and also page 4 of the Daily Sun newspaper. Other stories, VONDG mocks the PDP over Northern APC governor support for Southern presidency. With the rider, PDP take Igbo for granted. You can read more of that on page 29. Gunmen kill policeman and another in Delta. Group intensify push for sealing of APC presidential ticket to the southeast with the rider, the Southwest Youth Organization Lord Northern Governors for supporting the South, with detail on page 28. And food prices continue to rise despite the 948 billion naira injected by the CBN into agriculture and the African Development Bank to spend 3.5 million euro on Abuja-Lagos Road project, with detail on page 2. And anger, tears as terrorist kills causing Ondo Church, with the rider Governor Akeredolu talks tough, vows to nab attackers. Buhari, Kalu, Atiku, Afenifere, Khan, PFN, PDP and others have reacted, with detail on page 30. And on 2023, Southeast may lose out in PDP power sharing formula. Detail on page 28. And that's all on the Daily Sun newspaper. Okay, we have a caller, Tosi. Hello, good morning, Joseph.
Hello?
Hello, good morning. Please go on.
Right. I want to contribute to the digital headlines that this morning. Right? I'm particularly concerned about the killing of you see, I am price is money because the other analysis, somebody said that it didn't go to thank God that it didn't go to what type of around? And the only thing we have to add is that and work. I'm in short of work. That type of content. I am tired of that. I don't believe it works. But what happens if one that is what we highlight is content.
Thank you so much for that contribution. Let's move on.
On the Nation newspaper, how gunmen invaded church, killed many in Owo. Akeredolu weeps during visit, Buhari orders mourn. Fashola hands over houses to Kano beneficiaries, and on bad loans, mortgage bank MFBs get 15-day deadline. A moment of decision coming from the All Progressive Congress. An 11 held in drug seizure at Abuja, Lagos Airport. President greets Kumuyi. Details can be found in page 5 of the Nation newspaper. Consensus candidates are best option, Buhari insists. APC will win in third straight time. And inside the paper we have Akeredolu to Lawan, Bello step down. Mahi denies stepping down and I'm still in race, says Yaya Bello. Tight security around Eagle Square. The last story on the Nation, we have petrol freight rate rises and Emir preaches peace at anniversary, while Kola Biola is PRP presidential candidate. That's all the stories making round on the Nation newspaper.
And a look at the Daily Independent newspaper, how the APC presidential candidate will emerge. You can read how all of this will take place. The big story, outrage trace on Ondo Catholic Church bloodbath, with the writer Afenifere says Walsh should hold the federal government responsible. Criminals operating with impunity can lament. Governor Akeredolu vows to hunt down assailants. And Nigeria fast becoming a failed state. This is coming from Peter Obi. Other stories still on Daily Independent. Northern Elders slam region 11 governors over zoning of APC presidential ticket, with detail on page 7. Still on 2023 presidency, Southern Middle Belt leaders commend Buhari APC governors. No peace-loving Nigeria will want a northern succeed Buhari. This is coming from Akeyina. Detailed on page 9. And on inflation, volatile forex to signpost economy ahead the 2023 polls. The last story, Buhari APC National Caucus members in last minute meeting before convention, with detail on page 6. And that's all on the Daily Independent.
On Nigerian Tribune, power generation falls between 3,000 megawatts. Federal government blames shutdown of gas plant. And we know earlier this year we had the Minister of Power blaming the dam, saying that the shortage of water in our dams, and that's what is causing the blackouts. And now we are seeing the issue of blaming of gas plants. I just say that if you're overseeing any sector, look out for ways those sector can grow, because I know that part of your manifesto, and even before you were given the mantle to supersede such position, you gave out some reasons and ways you can improve that sector. So we should not have issues, Nigerians, dealing with how that sector can grow. You are superseding such places. Look out for ways such sector can grow. We should not keep on seeing your excuses coming up, because we are having the shortage of power outage in Abuja and even environs. I know in Plateau State, like in my own community, we are having this blackout. So look out for ways places can grow. Look out for where your sector can thrive. We should not have all these issues coming back and forth. We are looking out for ways we can grow. We are looking out for ways food can be available. We should not look out for ways, again, your sector can grow. You are there, you are superseding such places. So put in all efforts you need to put in as a minister to look out for where this sector can grow, and electricity will be available for everyone.
Okay, hello, Tony. We have a caller. Hello, Tony. Good morning. Please go on with your contribution.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, Tony. Please go on with your contribution.
My name is Tony, calling from Anambra.
Thank you. Go on.
Please, for the news of killing in Catholic Church, I share tears. Honestly speaking, I share tears. Let our government, let them know what they will do, because the killing is too much. I don't know, how can government keep quiet when things are happening, most especially killing this way? Let us sit up. Everything is not election. They are busy arranging election 2023, where people are dying on a daily basis, kidnapping everywhere, killing everywhere.
I shed tears for this continent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We all shed tears and we hope something will be done about that. Tosin, please.
Oyo Deputy Governor defect to APC, still on Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Gunmen abduct Catholic priest in Kogi. Blood, sorrow, tears in Owo. Dozen killed as gunmen shoot at worshippers inside Catholic church. And how they struck, priest narrates. It is a Black Sunday in Owo. We will hunt down assailants, Akeredolu vows. Internal sorrows await perpetrator. This is coming from President Muhammadu Buhari. Afenifere once again siege in southwest. Fayemi sends human medical resources to Ondo, while Oshibanjo, Atiku, Tinubu, Saraki, Amechi, PDP and others react. APC in make or break convention. Lawan, Bello, Yerima, others snub northern governors. Adamu is saying it is a convention like no other, and northern APC governors didn't speak for the north. Northern youth declare. Southern Middle Belt Pandef leaders commend governors. Details can be found in page 2 and 3 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. And that's all on the paper.
Thank you, Tosin. And a look at the Punch newspaper. 20 power plants suffer major problems. Blackout worsen, with detail on page 20. And on APC primary, Buhari meets governor, party chairman, stakeholders, police tighten security. With the rider Galadima Slam Adamu as APC chair insists on punishing Tinubu. Party inaugurates subcommittees, chairman, delegates arrive Abuja, with detail on page 8 of the Punch newspaper. 3 die as Lagos Ministry police hoodlum demolish 200 buildings, with detail on pages 4 and 5. National carrier gets license today, local airlines fault processes. And the big story, gunmen disguised as worshippers massacre over 35 in Ondo Church. With the rider OAU alumni ex-chairman, wife among the dead. This is really a sad one. It was like a war front. This is coming from a survivor. Attackers arrived when we were ending service, shot from different angles. This is coming from the priest. It's Black Sunday. Akeredolu, Afenifere, Buhari, Ozibanjo, governors Tinubu and others mourn. Okay, hello, Kayode from Ondo State.
It's a pity, but to me, in the current thing in Ondo State, I want you to know that this thing has been happening gradually, but failure of our government is supposed to go there and find solution to it, including the Amatekun. So most especially our this thing, what we call the police, they are not doing their work, because all these things is not supposed to happen. Before those people carry gun to that church, all these police, they are on the road from one pole to another pole. Only God can save us. Concerning the APC primary election that is going on, we know that the person that can win the presidential, the strong man, is what we are going to vote for. Not the nation of our delegate or something like that, because we are not believe them. If we choose the what do you call it, aspirants that is not fit for me, I won't vote for them. God bless Nigeria. Congratulations, likewise.
Thank you so much. You know, he made a right point. Before they got to that building, there were checkpoints. So you begin to ask questions. Don't you check before they go there? Or are they working together with members of the church? Where did they kill the ammunition that they used, or all that? So I think this is an eye-opener. If we're having a citizen of that state saying that this is not the first time such thing is happening, but there have been carelessness on the part of the government and also the security men to look into issues like this. So I hope this has served as an eye-opener that will not just be be careless, or will not just treat things carelessly about the lives and properties of people, but will stand up to our responsibility to protect people.
Yes, same thing we have in New Busa in Niger State, where you see farmers have to liaise with terrorists and even herdsmen for them to go to their farm. And we hear that there are security operatives moving around in such community, but they've gone to the extent that farmers have to liaise with this terrorist group. So we need to look into all this. If security agencies that are deployed in all these places are not looking out for what they are supposed to look out for, then they should be evacuated from such places. New securities should be brought.
So we have Easy from Lafayette. Good morning.
My comment goes from the killing. Our politicians, they are not care for the life of the masses. They only care for their politics. They have to value the life of human beings. So that is my contribution.
Thank you, Izzy, for that contribution, and we know that they will do the right thing. And we have picture stories still on the Punch newspaper where we can see victims of the gunshot that took place in Ondo Church, and that's all on the Punch newspaper.
On national economy, foreign investors pump $615.7 million in money markets within 3 months. Bank customers lament as fintech-related fraud persists, urge regulators to curb menace, and bank lost 2 billion naira to fraud in 1 year. PwC is saying workplaces will lose more skilled workers in next 1 year. Use BDCs to end multiple exchange rates, APCON tells CBN. And NASCON records 2.97 billion naira net profit. That's all on the national economy.
And still on the world of business from the Business Day newspaper, Momo smart cash to disrupt 8 trillion naira annual mobile money transactions. The big story, Nigeria's next president to contend with revenue disaster. Other stories still on Business Day newspaper, how APC threw Osibanjo Tinubu into death match political wrestling ring. And Ondo Church attack shows growing security problem. And where we have businesses, governments pledge new action to save the earth. And we have an analysis that said Nigerians' many troubles on everyone's lips. We detail of that on page 31, and that's all on the Business Day newspaper.
Still on Business AM, Nigerian brand at $3.2 billion trail South Africa with $36.9 billion valuation. MTN with $4.0 billion retain its position as Africa's most valued brand. Digital revolution helped Africa top brand achieve 28% increase brand value to $50.1 billion. On news, we have African entrepreneur surge ahead, while on finance and investment, reserve drops is in macroeconomics. Marketplaces for artists, and Nigeria, Africa sees steepest gain in budget transparency and accountability. This is an IBP survey. Despite COVID-19 pandemic, with South Korea spearheading, Benin, Nigeria, Gambia amongst biggest improver. Capacity rising for manufacturers, and Emirates hold on to Nigeria, with processing holds back on cashew. What it means to lead in a multipolar world. This is from an executive knowledge series. While on Visionary Voices, we have the global hunger crisis is here, and also we have necessary means on how we can stop this global hunger from affecting us in our country. That's all on the Business AM.
Thank you, Tosin. And the last paper, which is an international paper, the York Shrine Post. And we have Queen appeared on balcony to crowd's delight. You can actually check that on the paper. We have the army, not solution to queues and disruption at UK airport. Sharps roll out relaxing migration rules to tackle serious staff shortages. We have veterans gather near the bridge for the D-Day event. Other story, conservatives set for by-election loss. Cash support fears over marine debts. And we have private equity firm is ready to invest. We have other stories on the paper. You can do well to get the paper and read any of the stories that is of interest to you. And that is how far we can go on the program, The Dailies on Echo Television. Thank you, Tosi, for doing this with me.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, our viewers, and also to the Echo Executive for giving us a platform where we tend to look at stories that concerns us as a nation. Remember, show love to one another. Do have a blessed day ahead.